Hello, it's Wednesday. Spoilers, it's not Wednesday, it's Friday. Dinner and other triumphant noises. Let's zoom out a bit. Other way. Spiteclaws Swarm is complete. The video is edited and is up on Patreon now, so if you've got $5 you can watch it straight away. Otherwise you'll have to wait a week for it to show up on YouTube. And they're on a plinth because it made it easier to hold them. So these are guys. We've got the old warpstone blade. I can't point at things. There you go. I'll see if this is in focus. Let's try that again. Okay. Anyway, here are some rats. They came out quite good. I enjoyed painting them, which is important to me. I don't like painting things I don't enjoy painting. Fire Slayers. I had a lot of fun doing this cloak, and they were relatively quick to paint as well, actually. But then again, my perception of how fast something is to paint may be warped as a result of a certain Shadespire kit that I've tried for the last 4 months to paint. Or however long it's been now. It's been a long time. So, yes, Patreon, this is available right now to watch. I'm stroking this guy's tail in a weird, creepy way. What else have I been up to? It's not just that. I got a new lamp, a new light. I have had one of these. Is it going to get in shot? There it is. It's attached to a microphone boom arm via a 1/4-inch bolt, because which is hard to find in the UK because everything's metric over here. And apparently only camera equipment still uses 1/4-inch bolts on everything. Yeah, I've had one of those lamps on this camera for a few months now, and it's great, but I used to have 2 lights and it made it easier to take pictures for Instagram that didn't have terrible shadows on them. So I got another one with Patreon money. So now I have 2 lamps, and I actually have one that I can position, as well as the one on the camera that does all of the lighting. They're 40 quid, and they're pretty good. They're just like cheap Chinese LED panels with color temperature and stuff, but they're way nicer than what I was using before. And I've bought the remainder of Shadespire. So I've got the Fast Riders, Magor's Fiends, and I also bought the board tile and the leader pack of cards because I wanted to have all of the stuff before Nightvault comes out. And at the moment, based on the voting on Patreon, it looks like the Fast Riders will be a painting tutorial for September. And currently in second place, last time I looked, was painting a Katachan kill team. But that's only got like 3 votes. Second place is really easy, and it's the second video I paint each month. But speaking of the second video I paint each month, oh, we can zoom in again now. Here is a Goliath that I've been practicing on, and here is half his body actually painted with a skin tone. So I'm practicing my skin tones on these guys. I've got a couple more over here, base coated and their pants painted, that I'm practicing on before I commit to the video, which I'll be recording over the weekend. It's not great skin. It's okay skin. This was relatively painstaking and time-consuming work. I'm going to try and find an easier, faster way to paint this, because looking at it in the cold light of morning, it's not super amazing. It's basically just Cadian flesh tone with Doomball Brown as a shadow, really. Yet it took me ages to get there because I'll show you the wet palette. Because here is my gradient from Doomball Brown at this end to Flayed One Flesh at this end, and I basically just only used really the colours here in the middle and layered it all up with just dozens and dozens and dozens of very thin layers over Doomball Brown, and it took forever. And the result's not bad, but it's not great. But I think I'm always going to feel that way about painting a human skin tone with a paintbrush. And I'm not sure, but I think I might be able to get better results if I just mask off the legs and then do the highlights with an airbrush. And I'm going to try that on one of these guys over here today during some downtime. I'm just going to, you know, get some tack, mask off the legs that I've already painted, and see if I can go at it with an airbrush and see if I get better results with that. I'm going to try some different methods. Yeah, this was incredibly time consuming, far more time than I'd like to spend on the entire gang. And it looks alright from some angles, like it looks pretty good there. Looks pretty naff there. And it's fine from above, but from above it may as well just be Cadian flesh tone and nothing else. So I've got a long way to go on my skin tones by paintbrush. What else? Oh yes, it's a dried out foam for a red grass palette. Sorry, I find things like that amusing. Leviathan Dreadnought leg. So all of the paint chipping on the lower body is done. It's painted, it's highlighted. And now I'm on to painting the worky bits, essentially. And all I've done so far on that front is just base coat them with Panzer Grey from BMA. And I'm still not entirely sure how I'm going to do that. I'm debating whether or not to do it with actual metallics or to try and paint it as like it's been painted black and then chipped, but I think if I do too much chipping on this it'll look a bit weird. So I think I'm just going to do it with metallics, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that just yet. My brain's like, it's a Golden Demon entry, you shouldn't use dry brushing. Which is kind of... There's a lot of people that would say that's true and that you should never dry brush a Golden Demon entry, but I say bull honky to that. I was trying to think of a sweary non-swear word then. And I went to The Simpsons for one. Yeah. Because I know for a fact that there are Golden Demon winners that have used dry brushing on their metallics and done fine. And that's someone at the door. I'll be right back. Ah, hello, I'm back. The doorbell went. Dry brushing, yeah. If you do dry brushing well enough, it doesn't look like dry brushing. Well, it does, but you can still do true metallic metals with dry brushing and stippling, and you know, Golden Demon's about execution, not about specific technique. So you don't need to do certain techniques to win a Slayer sword, as long as you've executed everything on the model perfectly. That is the advice that all Golden Demon winners give, and the judges give. That it's not actually about looking for a specific technique that's hard to do, it's about overall execution of the entire miniature. And that includes composition, colour choice, colour balance, and actual technique at the end as well, you know, sculpting as well if you've done some. And you know, the base does matter. So it's about overall execution. So you just have to be really consistent. If you do like a really well painted paint job and then you use non-metallic metals badly on it, then you're just doing yourself a really, really big disservice. When, for example, you could have used true metallics and had a better result. So yeah, the judges don't look for any one specific technique. So I'm probably going to dry brush all of the metallics, to be honest, but I'm going to do my competition level dry brushing, which is much more precise with a smaller brush and takes much longer. But I'm not using many washes, and that's just because you don't have a lot of control over washes. And they're a relatively destructive process. You put a wash on, it's like, whoa, okay, now I'm stuck with that effect. And I'm not going to use oil washes because they always come up a little bit grainy for me, and I just don't see that's no point risking that. So anyway, metallics are next on this, and then painting the actual raised details and all this stuff. So that's it. All the legs done. It's all looking good. Nice and high definition looking, which is what I wanted. The red crotch plate is all checked and complete, ready for its metallics. So yeah, that's coming along quite nicely, but yeah, slow going. But Golden Beam's not until May next year. Now, the doorbell is, we're going to have an impromptu unboxing because it was the postman. Look, it's full of stuff. It's packaging. We've got some genuine Nottingham air. Get rid of that. What's in my big box of stuff? It's the stuff I was just talking about. Look at that, it's my card. It's all my Shadespire stuff. So, yeah, there's the Fast Riders. They've arrived. Magor's Fiends. Although I might not do a video tutorial on these because I probably will do one for the Fleshhound, but the rest of the model, as you can see from this chappy up here, here's my advice on how to paint these guys. Just do the armor bit of the Blood Reapers video. They've got no skin on them, apart from maybe their chins, but if I was going to tell you how to paint them, I'll just tell you to paint them exactly the way that I painted the rest of the armor on the Khorne Blood Reapers. And the chainmail as I did on the Orks. So I'm going to paint them, so I might do a tutorial on them anyway, but if you want to know how to paint them now, just do them that way. It's really easy. They're armored, so it's just basically dry brushing and then layering with glazes. Every single individual element on these models I have covered at some point in the past in a different video, so you should be able to work it out on your own. The only thing that's different is the Fleshhound. So I might do a tutorial just for the Fleshhound, and a very quick tutorial on the rest of the guys, because they're essentially Space Marines in terms of the actual details. Fast Riders, I'm going to do another Stormcast thing. I'm going to be doing a dark blue one. I've forgotten the name of it. Celestial Knights, I think. I think it's Celestial Knights. And they're a little bit like same kind of colour scheme as Crimson Fists, Space Marines, if you know who they are. And we have the extra board tile, which should be fun. And this is basically my YouTube revenue for 2 months. That sweet YouTube money paid for all this stuff. So yes, there's a board there. It's a Shadespire board. It's very pretty. I'm looking forward to using it because it'll add a lot of much needed variation to our games of Shadespire. Yes, there are hexes. and there are hexes that hurt you if you move through them. Which is good for me because a lot of my decks have a lot of pushing in them. So I may end up using this board quite a lot. Let's have a look at the sprues, since I'm doing an impromptu unboxing. There you go, there's some sprues. No, I'm kidding. I don't care about the cards. Well, I do. But this is a painting channel. I'm not going to talk about them. That base is huge! Does that even fit on one hex? No, it doesn't. That's massive! I didn't realise it was so big. Wow. Okay. Okay, I didn't realise the Fletchhound was that big. I'll definitely do a tutorial on it. Although, spoilers, it'll mostly just be airbrush and dry brushing. But yeah, my original statement about the rest of the guys' stands, they're all just armour and chainmail and trim, so do it the way that I told you to do the Bloodweaver's armour. There's only 3 of them, so it's not going to take long. And give them a black cloak, like on the Orks video. So, yeah. They're not bad. But I don't think they're for me, strategically, tactically. I'm an Orks player. Because Orks. I love Orks. So, yes. I guess this became an unboxing video. I duped you by calling it a work in progress video. That axe is ridiculous, though. Why are there teeth on an axe? I mean, really. Half tempted to do that on as a organic gummy type look, but that would be really gross. And I don't want to do that now that I'm thinking about it, because that's too gross. Lots of skulls on the base. Yay, more skulls. I love painting skulls. You can tell by the tone of my voice that I'm telling you the truth. I just adore painting skulls. I hate painting skulls. Dear Games Workshop, skulls are the most boring thing in the world to paint. Please stop putting them on everything. And this is the worst kit in the world for someone who doesn't like painting skulls. They're on everything. I think this is why I don't like painting corn stuff. They're just covered in skulls. I try and make sure whenever I have Space Marines to paint that I have as few skulls on them as possible. You get the iron skull on the Sergeant's helmet because I'm a sucker for cannon unit markings. But aside from that, I try and avoid extraneous skulls on things. Because I just find them really boring to paint. Maybe it's because I had an Chaos Warriors army in the past. And just spend all your time painting skulls. Some more sprues. This time, blue. Weren't Steelheart's Champions blue anyway? Was it a different shade of blue? I can't remember. They've got paint on now. Okay, it's a furry cloak, everyone, and a big burb. Oh, the burb's all in one piece. That burb will be interesting to paint as a separate thing. Otherwise, they're Stormcast Eternals. That's a big log. That's a very plasticky looking log. I'm going to have to sponge the ever-loving doodah out of that. Try not to swear. I know that the average demographic of this channel is like 30 years old, just like me. But I still try not to swear. In real life, I swear like a trooper. Oh, the feet are on the arm there. Well, that's not annoying at all. But I can't see how else they would have done that. Yes. So they're Stormcast Eternals. They're very much going to be an airbrush job. Furry Cloak will be a dry brush job. Although I have got something coming, but it's not going to arrive in time for me to try it out on these guys. Maybe I'll try it out on this guy I've got lying around. But I've got some nail art stamps, and I'm going to have a see if nail art stamping kits can be used to any kind of good effect for transferring paint onto models. In my head it should work. I suspect in reality it won't. But it'll be an interesting video, and it cost me like 5 butt plates and such. And if not, I can just do nail art with them. So I've still got all those false nails from when I did my partner's nails for the wedding. So, oh, he's got an axe on his back. So they've got their bolt pistols. They aren't bolt pistols, but they're bolt pistols. And it's all furry cloaks. I thought they were smooth cloaks, and I was going to try and paint a leopard print pattern on them. But now that I see that they're furry cloaks, I'm not going to bother, because that'll be a nightmare. And now I understand. No, because the guy that entered the Stormcast with the leopard print pattern on his back, that was the Night Questor, who's got a smooth cloak, so yeah, it would have been much easier. Yeah, painting that. I mean, you could do stripy tiger or zebra skin type patterns on this stuff relatively easily, but doing leopard print patterns onto sculpted fur is actually quite tricky. I once had an Escher gang that I painted leopard print onto all of their armoured bras, and they're not really stockings, they're more kind of chaps, really, aren't they, on the Eschers. But yes, back in the 90s, when Necromunda first came out, my Escher gang had leopard print on everything. And it wasn't actually that hard to paint at that scale. It's basically just paint lots of little U's in different orientations. And I was only 16 at the time. Going back a long way. Way back machine with Rob. So, yeah, lots of very plasticky looking trees. There's not a lot of wood grain detail going on in those, so yeah, sponging to add texture, because those will look awful. Just awful if you painted them up and didn't add any texture to them. And they will not take a dry brush well, because they're such smooth surfaces. So that's definitely a sponge job. And if you're a glut for punishment, you could try and paint in bark pattern on with a paintbrush, but why would you bother when you could just use a sponge? Yeah, they're definitely Stormcast Eternals, alright. That's the best thing I can say about them. On the sprues, there's nothing particular. I just noticed where the heads are. Oh, this tickled me no end when I was doing the Steel Hearts Champions. And he had just his legs with a pole and then his little head on top of it. I cracked up. I was dying for like 10 minutes when I saw that. And these ones are even better. I'm sorry, but this guy is legs, tiny pole and a head. And then you got this guy over here that's just a head with a single arm holding a gun. I find these things amusing. They're great. We got any on this side, or is he really boring? Oh, he's got one leg, an arm, and a head. I don't know if you ever saw the Canadian science fiction program Lex. In, I think, season 2 of that. The enemies were just arms that were disassembling the universe and turning them into more arms. And this is what this has reminded me of. I'll see if I can find a picture, I'll put it here. Off the internet, but yeah. Oh. Well, that's it. Games Workshop aren't going to send me anything to review in the future if I'm just going to laugh at their pieces. But that is hilarious to me. Standard Stormcast Eternals fare on shoulder pads, where you're going to have a massive seam down the middle of the shoulder pad unless you gap fill it, and the gap filling won't be easy because there's detail on it. I really hate that about Stormcast Eternal shoulder pads on the push fit kits. The Night Questor one does it as well on one. Like, this was a Golden Demon entry for the Masterclass. Don't know if you remember. I'll zoom in on this. And if you want to look at the winners of that class, of that category, you'll note that all of them managed to get this seam here filled in for the most part. And quite frankly, that's really hard. It's really hard to fill in these seams on Stormcast Eternals. His other arm is fine, because it's just a lion head, and there's no seam on that. There isn't even a mould line down the middle of it. Because I think the mould line was running along here, along this edge, in that way that they do now. But yeah, the Golden Demon winners, they all had this, and I never managed to get rid of this, and I was just like, I know that if I don't get rid of that seam line there, that I've got zero chance of remotely winning anything in that contest, because it's so blatant, it just stands out, and it's just indicative that you haven't put the effort into assembling your miniature. And I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried, and I couldn't get rid of it satisfactorily in time to actually have enough time to be able to paint the model, because I needed like 2 to 3 weeks to paint the model. So I just ended up not entering, so I've just got a Night Questor knocking about on my painting desk. That, I don't know, maybe one day he'll be subject to a tutorial. Because people like them Stormcast Eternals videos. But yeah, I really hate these sim lines. I don't know why these aren't just separate shoulder pads like on Space Marines. I mean, maybe they are in the regular kits, but I've only touched Stormcast Eternals in push fit and this character sprue format. I hope that on the regular kits, tell me in the comments on the regular kits that all of these shoulder pads are just single pieces that you can cut off the sprue, and the connection point would most logically be here and back here, and then you can just file it down and jobs are good 'un. But on all of the push fit kits, they always just run it, because they've got to basically split the model in half. They always run the seam line right down the middle, and they did it on Steel Hearts Champions, and it really irked me there. It's the most singly annoying thing to a painter about these push fit kits, is where the seam lines are. I will say this for these chaps: not a single seam line in a bad place. Kudos to the sculptor. Whoever sculpted Spiteclaws Swarm, I salute you. You did a fantastic job. And whoever laid them out on the sprues, you sir, or madam, also did a fantastic job at making these guys hide all of their seam lines and all of their mold lines, because they were fantastic. The Fire Slayers were rubbish, but I think you may have had your hands tied with the Fire Slayers. There's not many places you could have put the seam lines on those and had them hidden. Generally, things wearing lots of armor tend to be much easier to hide seam lines on. For example, I'm betting these guys are really, really easy to hide the seam lines on. I suspect not so much the Fleshhound, because it looks like he's going to have one running right down the middle of his back. But these guys, they're probably going to be fine, except for those shoulder pads. And the smooth ones, there's always a smooth one on most of these guys. This guy will probably have a lion pattern on one of his shoulder pads, in the way that they do. No? Yes. Yes. But the other half has got a bird sitting on it. Yeah, these Stormcast Eternals always have big old seam lines running right down the middle of their shoulder pads, which is one of the most obvious places to see one. And I'm pretty sure they do it so they can save space on the sprue, because the size of this would be the same regardless of whether or not it had the shoulder pads on, and then they'd have to put the shoulder pads somewhere else so that you could stick it on. And I don't think they'd be able to do it push fit particularly easily. You'd have to, yeah. Downsides of push fit kits. And here's some cards. They're cards for playing a game, and I don't play games on my channel. Some people play games but don't play miniatures on their YouTube channel, and those people make a lot more money, a lot more easily than the people doing painting videos. Do you know how unprofitable it is to make painting videos on YouTube? It's incredibly unprofitable. Like, unless you're a Golden Demon Slayer Sword winner, you can't make a living doing this. Ooh! They're not cellophaned. So, these are some cards, and I'm looking for all the ones that have got Ork art on, basically. They've got that new card smell. The smell of glue and factory. This is a lot of cards. Also, I like the box. That's going to be my new deck box. Assuming it all fits. So, yes. I also bought these. I'm not going to do a tactics video because this isn't that kind of channel. Also, my tactics suck. I've never entered a tournament. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's it. I've rambled. This video is probably like half an hour to 40 minutes long or something by now because of that unboxing. Also, I've got some grots on corks. These guys are part of Orktober that I'm slowly preparing stuff for. They're going to make up part of my Ork Kill team, led by this chap. Actually, I'll get to some of these because I've got some. Most of the guys that are going in my Ork Kill team, which are all freebooters, most of the guys going in my Ork Kill team are currently sitting in some biostrip waiting to be scrubbed because I painted them in the past, but I painted them badly. So this is going to be the leader. He's a bit dusty. Yeah, there we go. So, leader. Combat specialist. That's it. Everyone else is in biostrip at the moment. And if you want to know how to paint this skin tone, there's a video there. So yes, I'm getting stuff prepped for October because I'm excited. And hopefully I will be painting. It won't be a full tutorial, but I'll just be like videoing myself painting my kill team of orcs, of orc freebooters. So yeah, it's like 5 grots, a boss knob, some burners, and some boys. That's pretty much it, but I'm going to be converting a lot of the boys up. So maybe I'll video that. And that's it. Oh no, they fell off. These guys weren't pinned onto a cork, they were just sitting on one, like. Yeah. I've had these guys sitting around since I got Badrook splash kits. Yeah, there you go. I've had these ammo grots sitting around since I got Captain Badrook splash kits. Back when the flash kits came out. That was a while ago now. What, 3 years? 4 years? Good long while ago now. One of my favourite of Ork kits, that flash kits kit. So I've had these guys sitting around waiting to be painted, and I finally got a really good excuse to paint them. But yes, these are each 1 grot, even though it's 2 grots on a base. No one will complain, because I'm not modelling for advantage. very much modelling for disadvantage. So yeah, these are my grots. They're a lot of fun. And that's the leader. He's the brains behind the whole operation. This guy's the brawn. Brutal. Cunning. Yeah, that's it. Subscribe. Patreon, where you can see these guys right now. And paint all the models and social medias. That's it. Bye-bye.